I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all, 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on, the slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. With the slump yesterday, as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point, other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you from Bettor Off Dead. This is Friday. Happy Halloween. I will be posting my Halloween costume later today if everything works out correctly. I'm going to have to shave my face for it, by the way. So, as sometimes I tend to do, and I look like a fat, ugly baby after I do that. So, enjoy that on this show for the next couple of days. I don't have anything else to say besides that, I guess. Oh, man. We went 2-1 on the show last night. So we had another winning day. With 1-1 in hockey, we got the win with the favorites. So that actually meant that 1-1 in hockey was actually a slight win as well. With Tampa Bay Lightning, they got the win. Close game, 2-1. I didn't really look at what happened statistically in the game, but I will eventually. And then the Nashville Predators did not come close. I think the game was not as statistically bad as the score looked, but that was a loser. Predators, they might have to go back on my do not bet list. I mean, that kind of happened last year. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm going to see spots at some points where I like them, and that just didn't happen. But obviously the night was capped by a nice, easy win with the Texas San Antonio Roadrunners in the Alamo Dome. I think I accidentally called it the Alamo Bowl, whatever. The Alamo Dome hosts the Alamo Bowl. That's where they play. But yeah, that was an easy outright win for Texas San Antonio. They jumped ahead. They were up 17-6, and then Tulane was threatening to cut it back to 17-13 or whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a close game. But then I don't know what happened. I had it on over here, but I was doing other stuff, and I think Tulane. I was uploading my Uke stuff, and then all of a sudden Tulane didn't have the ball anymore and didn't score. I'm like, okay. And then shortly after that, it's 30-6 UTSA. I'm like, well, I guess we got this one. And I think the final was, I don't even know what the final was, 48-26, maybe, something in that ballpark, whatever it was. I don't know. It was nice outright wins. The money line hit on that one. I always recommend sprinkle a little bit on the money line. Hell yeah. Today I'm going to give out 1 NBA play, maybe 2. One is going to be completely dependent on an injury situation. But I think it's probably going to be a go. And then I'll give out a college football play, and it might not be the one that you think. So, yeah, hopefully it's good enough. There's one college football game that I like enough that I think it's worthy. Jeffrey, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. And I'm going to, because it was requested, I'm going to talk about this poly market thing, and hopefully I don't get my channel banned. Hopefully this show isn't too long, because I actually have to get out of here, and I'm going to wind up doing some Halloween stuff today. I got to get my costume prepared as well. No, it is not the Raptors. I can talk about that game if you want. I'm probably going to skip some of the NBA games, but as far as talking about them. First up, hockey. We actually have an interesting hockey slate. There are only 3 games. Colorado and Vegas is actually in the afternoon, basically at 4 p.m. Eastern. Interesting. It'll be an afternoon game out in the Pacific time zone in Vegas. Good matchup, 2 good teams. You got to think they're both going to show up for this. Colorado just broke a 4-game loss streak, although 3 of the 4 losses were overtime losses, as almost all their losses have been to overtime. This is a Colorado team that's very good, very hard to beat in regulation. They're coming off a big win, a nice quick revenge win over New Jersey, and they destroyed them. That was on Tuesday, 8-4. So normally I would say maybe that's a letdown spot, but because they broke their 4-game loss streak, I think that actually might propel them into this game and give them a little bit of momentum. And going out on the road, usually you are going to be focused. It's a 2-game road trip. I think you can guarantee their focus is going to be on this Vegas game and not on the San Jose game. So I would probably start leaning towards Colorado in this one. And then Vegas is returning home from a road trip. So they went out to the east. They played Florida, Tampa Bay, Carolina. Only won 1 game on the road trip. So they did finish the road trip with a win on Tuesday. They're coming back home. They've only been away since Saturday, but I do talk about this when you return home from a road trip. Took you cross-country, across multiple time zones. It can be a little bit of a distraction spot. You can come home and you have stuff to do at home. It can distract you. But in this case, I'm not so sure that's going to be the case because I don't think you're going to overlook the Colorado Avalanche because they're one of the best teams out there right now. And they have multiple days off after this. So I think if they have stuff they still need to get done at home, they're going to be able to do that. And maybe actually they'll be more distracted in the game after this against Detroit. So I don't think they're going to overlook Colorado. It still might be a little bit of a factor. I will still lean to Colorado in this game, though. They flipped from plus 102 as an underdog to minus 112 as a favorite. So the odds makers are telling you Colorado is enough the better team over Vegas that they're actually favored on the road. That's interesting to note. It almost makes it look like maybe you think the public might come in and think there's kind of some value in Vegas as a home underdog here. I'm going to agree with the odds makers here. I would fade the return home spot. Usually, if you have a return home spot and you have another team that's starting a road trip, I'm almost always going to be leaning towards that team on the road trip, if the team's starting the road trip, if not giving out a play on them. So 52% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on Colorado. I'll agree with that. I think if you're playing that game, Colorado money line is the way to do it. Islanders at Washington. Washington is coming off a big game where they fell short against Dallas on Tuesday, 1-0. Could be maybe a little bit of a hangover spot here. They went out on the road for that game, actually, returning home, although it wasn't a long road trip. So I don't know if like a full return home distraction spot comes into play here, although they do have to go out on the road again after this to Buffalo. But that's also a 1-game road trip, and then they come back home again. So I don't really think the road trip dynamics really apply here. For the Islanders, they're below 500 right now. I think they're maybe a little bit better than that. They've lost 3 in a row, all on the road. Probably looking to try to salvage this last game of the road trip, but it's going to be difficult because they're on a back-to-back, and they're playing a third game in 4 days, all in different cities. Boston, Carolina, and now Washington. So that's not easy to do. They played Carolina yesterday. Carolina is one of the top teams as well. Carolina beat them 6-2. So I don't really want anything to do with the Islanders here. Just on the back-to-back, I worry about it. They did put Rittich in net last night, so it will be Sorokin back in net here, who is their better goalie. But even so, I mean, I don't want any part of this game, really. Washington's up from minus 200 to minus 212 on the money line. 76% of the tickets, 99% of the cash on Washington. Probably not an accurate cash percentage there, but it looks like some of the actual money might be coming in on that side. Some of it's probably just due to the back-to-back. I mean, that sometimes you do see that. Generally, I'd be kind of leaning towards the Islanders in a spot like this. Just the only problem I have with them is the fatigue issue here, where they're on the back-to-back, a third game in 4 days. That's what worries me about it. So I got to stay away from it. I mean, I don't even know if I would give out much of an opinion on that one. Possibly an over in that game. The total did go up from 5.5 to 6, through the 6 a little bit. So when you have, a team that might be a little bit distracted and then a fatigued team, that can kind of take its effect on the defense. I'm not really doing the totals this year like I did last year. I'm not sure that I was totally great with those, but yeah, I mean, that might be one of those over situations that I look for there. Mr. Pinsey, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Again, hopefully I'm getting you some more winners there. That UTSA one was really nice yesterday to give us the winning day last night. Detroit at Anaheim. Money's coming in on Detroit in this one. Anaheim's down from minus 134 to minus 115. 50% of the tickets, 59% of the cash on Detroit. I mean, to me, I don't think Anaheim is very good, so it kind of would surprise me seeing them as that much of a favorite. I know they're at home, but that's that line where it came out was almost indicating that Anaheim's the better team over Detroit. I don't think that's the case. But I don't think Anaheim's in a very good spot either. Detroit, maybe not in a great spot either, though, which is the problem. This is another one of those where maybe an over is going to start making sense. Detroit is playing a third game in 4 days, all on the road. They played in St. Louis, but their last game was in L.A., so from yesterday to today, it's only like a trip up the road, basically, to Anaheim, so it's not really a huge travel leg here between yesterday and today, but they are still having to play twice in 2 days, and they did go to a shootout last night to beat L.A., so something to keep in mind. Talbot was in net for that one, so it will be Gibson back in net for Detroit for this one. At this point, I don't even know which one of them is considered to be the better of the two because they kind of just alternate, so I don't think it's a big upgrade or downgrade really one way or the other. I don't think they're really going to necessarily overlook Anaheim because they only have San Jose up next, but it might be a little bit of a letdown spot coming off that win over LA. That was a big win in a shootout. Anaheim, though, they're returning home from a road trip, so they're going to be the more rested team because they've had 2 days off, but they went on the road way back on the 19th, and they went to the Midwest, basically, and then all the way to the east, northeast, then to the southeast, to Florida. And they finished the road trip with a big win over the returning champs, the Florida Panthers, winning 3 of the 5 games on the road trip. That was a win for us on the show, if I remember correctly. So, big win for them, returning home from this. I don't like the spot here either. I mean, I don't think Detroit's really going to be a team they'll overlook, but still, you return home, you're having to get used to the time zone shift again. It's not an easy spot. It can be a distraction spot as well. So I agree with the market in this one that I think Detroit may be the right side here. That's probably the way that I would lean, but I don't really want to have anything to do with it on the back-to-back, even though the fact that they're already in the LA area, I think, is a pretty big edge for them, really. And then as far as the total, maybe an over does make sense. 80% of the tickets, 83% of the cash on the over. There's a little bit less juice on the 6.5. That is a high total, though. That's like as high as you'll see in hockey, 6.5. But it's high for a reason. And I mean, Anaheim tends to get in a lot of high-scoring games as well. So things to keep in mind on that one. Yep, 6.5. Yeah, it's a high number, but I think it's probably that way for a reason. NBA. What do we want to talk about in the NBA? I don't even know, man. Atlanta at Indiana is somewhat interesting. The Hawks are actually a road favorite here at 2.5. It's gone up a little bit with some juice, although we see 67% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on Indiana. Indiana still doesn't have a win, and I'm not sure that the spot is great because Indiana's coming off that close call against Dallas, and that was the game I gave out on the show. Indiana covered the other night. They put in a big effort to come back in that game, man. Cut it to 2, wound up losing the game by 2 as a big underdog. Now they come home from a road trip, so that makes it kind of a bad spot too because they had to go to Memphis and then Minnesota and then Dallas. They were kind of all over the place. Not a long road trip. It's been less than a week, but still, you come home, you have stuff to do back at home, and they do have Golden State up next and then Milwaukee. So are they going to overlook Atlanta a little bit? Maybe, even though Atlanta's kind of been a playoff team the last few years, like one of the teams that barely makes the playoffs or whatever. Atlanta's coming off just a win where I don't think they really paid much attention against Brooklyn. I think they just went in, didn't really care. Like, get in, get out. You know, Brooklyn, maybe the worst team in the NBA. I mean, they're one of them. So I expect more focus out of Atlanta in this one, although they do have Cleveland up next. So maybe a little bit worrisome. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of an overlook spot there, but I still think the spot is better for Atlanta. I would lean to Atlanta in that game if I was going to play it. Boston at Philadelphia, my Boston Celtics at the Sixers. Sixers are 4-0, but the Sixers have had an easy schedule so far, man, except they did play the Celtics. Probably should have lost that game, although that does mean this is going to be revenge for Boston, so something to keep in mind there. It's a quick revenge spot because the Celtics lost at home, so of course they're going to want to return the favor at Philadelphia. But other than that, Philadelphia beat Charlotte. That's not a good win. They beat Orlando. Orlando has just really been struggling, man. For some reason, Orlando, they were like this physical, like slow you down defensive team, and now all of a sudden they're trying to go faster, and it makes absolutely no sense. I don't know why they're doing it. So, yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why Orlando sucked early on. And then Philadelphia had that game where we don't even want to talk about it on the show because Washington was absolutely annihilating Philadelphia in that game and somehow wound up either not covering or pushing for you. By the way, I forgot to mention, Washington was actually up 5 in overtime in that game too. And then there was still a 10-point swing after that. It's just such bullshit, man. It's ridiculous. Joel Embiid did actually play in that game. He only played like 20 minutes or something, but he scored 25 points, I think. So he actually was really good in the game in the minutes that he was in there. Embiid is still going to play here as well. He still looks like he's, hurting. Like his leg doesn't look right, but he did finally have a good game in that game against Washington. Because that was a close call and because this is Boston, you got to think Philadelphia is going to show up for this, even though I think they're probably overrated right now because their schedule has not been that difficult. The Celtics, they've played a more difficult schedule. I mean, they've played the Knicks, Detroit, Cleveland, and New Orleans has improved this year too, although that was without Zion. Celtics, I mean, after they beat Cleveland, I was looking to maybe fade the Celtics after that because you got to think that's going to put them in a letdown spot. I mean, they just crushed Cleveland at home, and of course we know Cleveland's one of the best teams in the conference. Celtics just took it to them, man. Had a really good game, really good fourth quarter for the Celtics in that one. Slammed the door shut. Sometimes the Celtics don't do that, and they let teams hang around and get back into the game. They did not do that in that game. They were up, I think, 9 or 10 in the fourth quarter, and they took over the fourth quarter and won that game by 20. Yeah, I still agree it could be a bit of a letdown spot, although because they lost to Philadelphia at home already, I don't really think they're actually going to not show up focused for this. I'll slightly lean to Philadelphia in this game, but I don't think I can make it a play, which is odd. 54% of the tickets are on the Sixers, 64% of the cash on the Celtics. Sixers have dropped from a 3.5-point favorite to a 1.5-point favorite. 3.5 seemed high. I don't know if there was an injury situation. I think maybe it was 3.5 because maybe Paul George was expected to make his return, but I don't think he is. So that's maybe why the line fell back down. I think maybe the initial line came out thinking George would be back, and now he isn't, so maybe that's why. The Celtics, I think, were about a 3.5-point favorite when they played the Sixers at home, which, by the way, was a win for us on the show, although kind of lucky. The Sixers plus the points there. Celtics were winning that game by 10, I think, in the fourth quarter, and in that one, they did not slam the door shut. I don't know what else I have to say about this one, but I forget. I had thoughts in my mind. I was going to say something else. What the hell else was I going to say? I don't know, but if the Celtics were 3.5 at home, you get NBA, you don't get a lot of home court, maybe 1.5 to 2. So Sixers being somewhere in the vicinity of a 1-point favorite doesn't seem too far off on the line. That kind of makes sense, assuming that it's the same personnel, that George is still not playing and whatever. So the money is saying the Celtics in this game. I slightly disagree with that, but I'm not going to give it out as a play. Dave, what's up, man? Thanks for checking out the show on Twitter there. Dave, you've been in the show before, actually. I appreciate it, man. Thanks again for hanging out. LaMelo Ball got fined. Which Ball is that? Is he the one that's on the Hornets? Because I have his jersey, so that's pretty based. if that's the case, fading the Sixers or taking the under on them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's always just about the spot. So I'm not just looking to just constantly fade one particular team. Cleveland, I'm going to talk about in a second. Money on the under showing on Yahoo in the Sixers game. It makes sense that it would be an under. I mean, the total has dropped a little bit. We have 71% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the over here. I would probably actually kind of agree towards an under in that game as well. I mean, it's probably going to be more of a playoff atmosphere, some more focused defense there, even though you got to worry about the Celtics being in a potential letdown spot, though, and that would impact their defense. So I would worry about that a little bit. Oh, thank you, sir. On the NFL games, I've already offered an opinion on maybe the ugliest one that's out there. I'm going to have a play on Carolina Panthers plus the points. I don't know what else I'm going to do in the NFL. I don't love the rest of the board, really, otherwise. Maybe I'm going to wind up with about 2 plays this week. I'm not really sure yet, but we'll see. Raptors and Cavs, we'll talk about this. The money seems like it is coming in on the Raptors, although as was being alluded to by Jeffrey, the Cavs might have some injury situation here that's causing that line to drop because it's dropped from 9.5 to 6.5. So normally it's not going to move like that just based on the market action alone. So I think maybe it's market action plus like an injury situation with the Cavs. 55% of the tickets on the Cavs, 86% of the cash on the Raptors. So the money is indicating on the side of the Raptors. We can see what the injury situation is in this one. Jarrett Allen, I believe, is what was being referred to there. Or were you saying the Cavs or the Raptors? Jarrett Allen is the center for Cleveland. He's game time decision, so I'm not entirely sure that he's going to be out, but I think it's just this combination of injuries here. Remember, Darius Garland is out, but I don't think he's played yet this season, so that's not going to cause the line to drop like that, I don't think. Donovan Mitchell is a game-time decision. He's the one that would impact the line the most. He's got a hamstring issue, so there are a lot of things to watch in this game, man. Like, I don't think I could – I'm not sure I can offer much of an opinion on this one. I'm not going to give it a play on this one anyway, but I think if you're going to play this game, you got to, like, see who's actually going to play. But then, of course, once we know that, that's information, and the line is going to move off that information. But it makes this game very unpredictable. Mitchell might not play. He's the best player on the Cavs. Jarrett Allen is their center, so, I mean, that would have an impact as well if he's not going to play. They're both game-time decisions right now. They're both questionable. Allen with a finger injury. We'll see what happens. I mean, right now this line almost seems to be indicating that Mitchell, I guess, might actually not play in this game based on that line, but I don't know for sure. I think based on the spot, I would slightly lean to Toronto, though. The Cavs, I mean, that was a game, they got up for that game against Boston. And they got blown out. It's a little bit embarrassing. I think, did Mitchell get hurt in that game? Because he was not their top scorer for the first time. I don't know. He played 32 minutes. He just had a bad game. But he may have gotten injured during the game, too. I don't know. I didn't see that happen. But Cleveland, that broke a win streak for them, too. So it's a big game. You get up for it against Boston. You lose the game. It could be a little bit of a hangover spot, even though it was a blowout. They do have Atlanta and Philly up next, and those are probably playoff teams. So it is possible they kind of overlook this Toronto team that's been bad in recent years, and they're only 1-4 so far this year. Toronto, I mean, they faced a somewhat difficult schedule. I mean, they had to go to Texas for 2 games. They've played pretty much all good teams. Atlanta, Milwaukee, Dallas is still not, I don't think, as bad as their record looks. Spurs, who are 5-0 at this point and playing really solid defense. And Houston, I mean, hasn't been an easy schedule for Toronto here. And it doesn't get any easier having to play Cleveland either. But they're going to show up focused for this one at least. And they're coming off kind of a blowout loss at home to Houston. So I do think the spot does actually set up a little bit better for Toronto as well. So I would lean that way, but I don't know. I don't know what we want to do in that one besides stay away. Carolina to cover the spread, yes. It's like plus 13, 13.5. I'm wondering if it even gets to 14. 14 would be really nice on that one. I was basically saying just wait on that one because any number between 10.5 and 13.5, there's not a whole huge difference. I mean, 13 slightly key, but 14 is a lot more key. And so is 10. So any number like between those two is not much of a difference. Huge Packers fan. I picked the Packers to win the NFC before the season started, but I had them against the Ravens in the Super Bowl. So I'm still sticking with it, man. I still think the Ravens are going to win their division. They had to get healthy and they got to just coalesce. Which, by the way, I apologize. I was wrong about the game last night. I lose my Thursday night, Mr. Thursday night status. That was the first wrong lean that I had on Thursday night. Miami actually, they almost outgained Baltimore in the game. Like, it was only like a 5-yard difference in the game. Miami was -3 in turnovers. That was part of the reason why Baltimore didn't really do enough to win by what the score was. So I will put that out there. Yeah. Raptors have played good teams. Correct. Yeah. You're going to take the Raptors. I agree with it, but yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean the Cavs. I mean you at least know that there are injury concerns with the Cavs. So I guess if more players are ruled, like if those players are definitively ruled out for the Cavs, the line might drop even a little bit more. So, yeah, I mean I will say that. But if you can get 7 on that game, it's a lot better than 6.5. 7 is like the key number in basketball because it's when teams stop intentionally fouling. More faith than you. Yeah. Dude, Green Bay is a very balanced team. They're being overlooked, in my opinion. They have solid offense. They can throw the ball. They can run the football. They have a dual threat quarterback, basically. They got their defense has been solid. They don't really have many weaknesses, that Green Bay team. And they just got Christian Watson back. I added him in fantasy as well. Off to a bad fantasy week start for me because I had Loop as my kicker, thinking that Baltimore was at least going to be... I was thinking they were going to stall out in the red zone on occasion in that game. Nope, they only scored touchdowns, so isn't that just great? I'm still Mr. Thursday night. Well, I'm 2-0 in the actual plays, but I was 8-0 with my leans. Miami, they're in huge trouble. The Dolphins, they're going to fire their coach. They have to, if it hasn't already happened. Pass rush, Micah Parsons, baby, having to get an epidural before every game. Green Bay issues in the secondary, according to Dave. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure, man. Parsons is definitely having an impact. I think maybe the impact is being a little bit overstated, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely playing pretty well for them. All right, let's finish this NBA card here. Knicks Bulls is going to be one of my plays. Lakers Grizzlies is going to be the other one. What other games do we have here? Am I going to wind up talking about every one of these games? I mean, I guess Utah Phoenix just quickly is. Wait, did I skip a game? No, I didn't. This is like a revenge spot technically because Utah beat Phoenix. That was one of my wins, I think, right? Phoenix lost at Utah in what I thought was a pretty bad spot back on Monday. Utah blew the game and then had to go into overtime to win for us, even though they should have won more easily. This Phoenix team, I mean, as I've been saying, I don't think they're good. They have Booker and not a whole lot else going on. They also lost Bradley Beal over the offseason or whatever, whenever they did, but he hasn't been good either for what the hell team is even on? I don't know. I think he's hurt right now. I don't even know. Or he's just so bad that the team doesn't want to play him, whichever team he's on. Phoenix is coming off a close call against Memphis, though, so I'm not sure that I love the spot for Phoenix here. Yes, it is revenge, though. That was Wednesday. They're staying at home. That was a return home spot as well for Phoenix. So I talk about how the return home spot isn't really a good spot typically. It can be a little bit distracting. Maybe that came into play, but they did fight against Memphis, so it wasn't exactly a horrible spot, a horrible performance, I mean, from Phoenix there. I think they still will show up, though, because they did just lose to Utah. So I don't really think they're going to overlook Utah. This Utah team, they've been pretty competitive so far, more so than people think. I kind of like this Utah team. They're coming off a close game against Portland as well, which that was a winner for us on the show. They covered. So that was all right. They got back into the game and covered. Now they're starting a road trip, which I think is usually a positive spot. When you start a road trip, you tend to want to show up focused. So the situation really kind of has me leaning to the Jazz here, even though I know it is a revenge spot for the Suns, but I think the rest of the situation is better for the Jazz. The Suns are down from 4.5 to 3, so the money looks like it is coming in on the Jazz. That would be my opinion in this game. 56% of the tickets, 76% of the cash on Utah. I'll agree with that one. Denver at Portland. Denver, I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league still. They kind of... they made some additions over the offseason, I think, to kind of stack their team, too. And they have Jokic, who's still one of the best players. I mean, we know this Denver team is good. They're coming off a blowout win of New Orleans. I don't know if Zion Williamson came back in that game or not. Denver blew them out. Denver's been really good so far. They are good. Their only loss is an overtime loss. They're going out on the road for one game against Portland. They don't really have anything surrounding this that makes me think that they're necessarily not going to be that focused, though. I don't know. It's not a terrible spot for Denver. You know Portland will show up for it, though, because it is Denver. But, of course, the problem with Portland is they're returning home from a road trip. They went down to L.A., and then they had to go into elevation into Utah, which is why I kind of thought it was a bad spot and maybe a look ahead to this Denver game. It is still a return home spot, although it was a short trip duration-wise, as they only were on the road since Sunday. Return home spot, as I say, you usually get a little bit distracted by having to return back to home life, although I doubt that they're going to overlook Denver. I mean, nobody overlooks Denver, so I think you're still going to see Portland focused here. It's just a question of, like, how much focus will they lack because of the return home spot? How much fatigue is there going to be because of the travel? Those are the concerns with Portland here. Those are the question marks. The money is indicating on Portland. The Nuggets are down from 5.5 to 4.5. 73% of the tickets on them, only 53% of the cash. So the public laying the points with the Nuggets. It does look too easy to lay the points with the Nuggets here. Portland is particularly competitive at home over the last couple of years. So I'm not gonna disagree with the market there, really, but there's no way that I could give out a play on the Blazers in a return home spot, though. I just can't do it. It's just against what I do, really. I mean, I'll slightly lean that way and agree with the market, but it's not a strong opinion. Again, I don't think the Nuggets are in a particularly bad spot. The Blazers are in a worse situational spot, so I worry about that. But, yeah, it is a public Denver team, and it looks too easy to lay the points with them. And then New Orleans at the Clippers. Again, with New Orleans, you got to look at their injury situation here. It looks like Murray is still out, which I think we already knew that. Zion looks like he is back, so I'm assuming he played in the last game, and they still just got crushed. So I don't know. Did he play in this game? Oh, no, he didn't play against the Celtics. Hang on. I meant the Denver game. Let me see. I mean, they just got erased by Denver in this game. Williamson did play, although he was a little bit limited to 26 minutes. So they think that's because all the starters got yanked from the game because it was a blowout. So that's probably why. But that means that New Orleans will be a little bit more rested coming into this one because they got annihilated. So that's another thing in the NBA. When a team gets blown out like that, a lot of times they'll be more rested and more focused coming into the next game because you want to bounce back from a blowout because it's embarrassing, but also when you pull your starters like that, you're going to be more rested coming into the next game as well. New Orleans still looking for their first win, so I think you got to think they're going to be focused. They haven't had an easy schedule. They played Memphis, San Antonio, Boston, Denver. They do have OKC up next. Again, I think New Orleans is probably better than an 0-4 record makes them look. I think they're going to be focused, again, because you're a no-win team. You got to be focused on everything pretty much. I don't know why. It looked like that web page just accidentally downloaded for me. Firefox doing some weird shit. Clippers, yeah, they're coming off an ugly loss to Golden State, so I think they're going to want to bounce back as well. They've had an extra day off compared to New Orleans. They're returning home, but it's only from a one-game road trip in the same time zone, in the same state, so I don't think that really matters that much. So I think both teams are actually going to show up focused here. So then what you're probably looking at is the Clippers are probably laying too many points here. They're laying 11 points, up from 10.5 to 11. They are pretty good at home since they've been playing in that new arena, even though I know they did not cover for us in that game that I gave out. They missed by 1 point against Utah, I think it was. 83% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on the Clippers. It looks like the money's coming in on the Clippers. I'd slightly disagree with that. I think if you're looking for value in this game, I think it could only be found on the Pelicans, just because I don't think they're as bad as a no-loss record makes them, or no-win, record makes them look. So I would slightly lean that way, but that's really not a strong opinion. Yeah, so, yeah. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I like interacting with the chat, man. Gotta, give the listeners some quality, give them some interaction. I'm not gonna just sit here and talk to myself. I like the interaction, even though sometimes I disagree and I become a dick. If the Suns lose, they'll hand the Spurs their first loss on Sunday night. Interesting. You go to Buffalo Wild Wings a lot, Jeffrey, it seems like. Just because I keep talking about the Blazing Wings, is that what you eat every time? Basically, every time I go, I have to at least get the Blazing Wings. I don't do the challenge every time, but I feel like I have to at least get the wings because I'm like, if I don't get their hottest wings, I'm just a bitch. But then it ruins the meal too. Not only does it, numb your face, numb your hands, numb your dick if you take a pee, whatever. But then I eat the wings first, obviously, because you want to do that first. You got to take care of the spiciness first, and then try to like cool down a little bit with the rest of the food, stuff your face with starches after that and whatever, and carbs and whatever. I'll usually get like a burger or a sandwich or something, some fries to cool down after the blazing wings. Maybe another wing that's not as hot as well, like a different flavor. I usually go with one of my friends. Shout out to Chris, which people tend to think that we're brothers because we're both bald, bearded, 40-year-old men. Yeah. I haven't been there for a while though, but yeah. But we usually, we both, we split some of the wings. Usually we both get some of those insane wings. We both get some other flavor wings and a meal on top of it. Usually watch whatever the hell the games are that are going on. Usually hit a movie after that because the one that we go to is close to a theater. It's a gay old time, man. One time a waitress, which was actually at Uno, the Buffalo Wild Wings that we go to used to be in Uno. And Uno has not been doing that well. So the Uno closed, and that location turned into a Buffalo Wild Wings. So we just still go there for like tradition's sake, basically. But at the Uno, just because it was, I don't know, the two of us, our waitress comes over like you guys celebrating something tonight, and we always bring that up every time, like because we were both like yeah, we're celebrating our anniversary as a gay couple. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I forget what else I was gonna say about Buffalo Wild Wings, but yeah. I don't know. But yeah, well, I was going to say, like, you can't really taste your meal after you have, like, those insane spicy wings. That's kind of the problem. So I'm like, I don't even know if their burgers are actually any good because I've never actually tasted it. So I don't know. I've eaten a bunch of them, but I've never actually been able to taste it. So I don't know. You like Denver in that game with Denver? Yeah, I mean, the market is against it. The situation is kind of in favor of Denver to some extent. The Booker, he's inconsistent, and they don't have a good team there. So, like, what can you do? You don't get wings when you're drinking. The beer can kind of help with the spiciness of the wing, too, because the beer is carbs, and it's cold. So I think it does help a little bit as well. Blazing desensitized you. I think they made it hotter because, like, I did the challenge back in the day, and it seemed like it was way easier back in the day. I think because they started adding all these new levels of heat, I think they had to make the blazing hotter. I think that's what happened. Asian zing and hot garlic. Yeah, I like pineapple habanero. Is it pineapple habanero or mango habanero? Whichever one that is. The habanero one, it actually is a cool down from the blazing, so I like that one. I like the sweet and spicy combo. That's kind of my go-to, actually, besides the really hot stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like some of the sweeter ones, too. Honey barbecue and stuff like that. A classic. Gay football dates, yeah. These are gay movie dates, really. The blazing effect, yeah. I washed my hands. Dave, I don't think, was here for that story. That one time that I did it, I washed my hands, took a piss, and washing my hands to get the rest of the blazing off, because I'd already used a napkin and, like, wet wipes and whatever. I'm like, I'm going to wash my hands still to get rid of the blazing, take a pee. I'm going to wash my hands again after I piss, and I'm like, my dick is numb right now. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you can't get rid of the blazing. It's like the Seinfeld smelly car. It's the blazing skin. Buffalo Wild Wings, yeah, they should sponsor us. Yeah, mango habanero, yeah, it's a nice sweet and spicy combo. You got to go get some wings, man. Not that I think Buffalo Wild Wings wings are really that good, but yeah, that's how hot the blazing wings are, man. And that was when we were going to see a Sausage Party that night, which, say what you want about Seth Rogen, all those guys, the leftist comedians that are in that movie or whatever. I still think it's a funny movie. I mean, I had fun seeing that, except for the fact that my crotch was numb for like a large portion of the movie. It was definitely a sausage party in many ways that night. I was hanging out with dudes. I had a sausage party in my pants. It was all going on. All right, I'm going to make this the best bet segment, even though I do have to talk about college football. And then I was going to talk about this Trump thing briefly, just because it is ridiculous. Let's go to these NBA best bets here. And then I have one in college football, too, that hopefully is going to be a winner. Buffalo Wild Wings, yeah, they have a ton of TVs, so they have like every game on. Yeah, the whole wall is just TVs. So yeah, they basically have every game on. So that is a good thing. Yeah, they might have it automated. I don't know. Seth Rogen acts indistinguishable from Seth Dillon. Well, they're both woke and they call everybody bigots. So yeah, like I've been making the argument that Seth Dillon is a leftist. Seth Rogen, actually, yeah, you're probably right. Seth Rogen is probably pro-Israel as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to get this channel nuked. I'm not saying anything. All right, best bets. First one up. I know we lost a little bit on the number on this, but we're going to go with the Knicks -5. They're up from 3 to 5 here. Maybe you can find a better number on this. I mean, I'm not too concerned about 2 points in basketball. It's not really that huge, but, you know, I mean, you'd rather have the best number that you can. I didn't see this until this morning, so the money looks like it is agreeing with this one. 63% of the tickets, or 64 now, 89% of the cash on the Knicks as well. First of all, I like this because you're going to see this. This is at Chicago. People are going to look at this and see these records. Oh, my God, the Knicks are 2-2. They haven't won on the road yet. The Bulls are undefeated at home, and they're 4-0. So it's like, it looks like there's a lot of value on taking the Bulls, right? Like, why would you not want to get the Bulls? They haven't even lost at home, and they're an underdog here. What gives, man? Well, the odds makers are telling you exactly what you need to know in this game, man. And this is one of these things that I look for, like early in the season, is really where you can find things like this in most sports, where the records don't really tell you the whole story. Like, based on this alone and seeing what the number is, it's pretty obvious that this must mean that the Knicks have faced a way tougher schedule than Chicago has. I don't think Chicago's bad. I think they're on the way up. I think they're a pretty solid young team, but the Knicks are still definitely the better team, and I think it's going to show in this game. There's a reason why the odds makers are putting that number out at that number, why the Knicks are favored by that much. Odds makers are telling you they're the better team. I agree. That is the case. The Knicks have faced a pretty difficult schedule, man. They faced Cleveland, Boston, Miami, and Milwaukee. And Miami's running this new up-tempo offense there. And unlike Orlando, Miami's is actually scoring a ton. And the Knicks actually held Miami down. If you look at what Miami's doing, I think Miami is averaging like 130 points a game. They've scored over 140 multiple times. And the Knicks were one of the defenses that actually held them to below 120, which has only happened twice. So the Knicks, that loss is actually not that bad. The Knicks at Miami. And then I thought the Knicks were a good play against Milwaukee. And the Knicks played really well in the first half of that game. And they just fell apart late in the game, unfortunately. But now they've had 2 days off. They've lost both games on the road trip. You know they're going to show up focused here. They're going to try to salvage a game on the road trip. You can't go winless on the road trip, right? So I think that's good. I think the fact they've had an extra day off is going to help as well. They've been off since Tuesday, so they have an extra day of rest over what the Bulls have, although the Bulls are staying at home. But look at the Bulls' schedule in comparison. Like, what's their best win? Their best win was against Detroit, which, remember, I leaned to the Bulls in that game, and the Bulls were an underdog, and they got the outright win. And if the Bulls are an underdog against Detroit, they were like a 3-point underdog. The Knicks are obviously better than Detroit, so you know that this number of 5 makes sense. I mean, maybe it should even be higher if Detroit, you know, being 3 was an accurate number in that one. But yeah, so they beat Detroit. They clobbered Orlando on the road, but we know, like I said, Orlando's been really struggling, so I don't know how much we can take away from that. And then they beat Atlanta, who's an okay team, and then Sacramento. I think Sacramento's a struggling team right now. Their offense hasn't been good. I don't know what else to say about that. So the Knicks have definitely faced a more difficult schedule. I think it's significant as well. So we got a lot going for us. It's not really a situational play. It's more of a market versus records play, if you want to call it that, where like the odds makers are telling you something different than what the records are telling you. So that's what I'm going with in this one. I don't think it's really a bad spot for either team, but I think it's a spot where you're going to see the better team show up and win with the misleading number there. To me, it looks way too easy to take Chicago plus the points. So lay the points with the Knicks. That's the first play that I have there. If they lose, you like them on Sunday. I haven't even looked that far ahead yet. So Dirty Sock, what's up, man? I hope you had UTSA with me yesterday. That was the keystone of my card yesterday. Hell yeah. All right, the other play is going to be, and this is going to be a little bit tentative depending on the injury situation, and this is going to be counterintuitive unless, well, I mean, it's counter, but if you listen to me, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's going to seem counterintuitive. We're going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies minus the 1.5. Now, this line has dropped from 5 to 2. I think you can get a 1.5 out there. The money is indicating on the Grizzlies, though. 60% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on them. So why did the line drop? Well, I think it's pretty much because it looks like Luka is coming back in this game, and that is the main part of this. So I think if you want to wait to make sure that that is going to be the case, you could do that, because obviously if Luka is confirmed to be in, the line's not going to go up on the Grizzlies. You know what I mean? Like, it's only going to go down further, so you're only going to get a better number on the Grizzlies if you wait. So, I mean, I probably do recommend that. Just wait around a little bit. Make sure that Luka is playing, because that's also part of the handicap here. So, reverse injured player theory. I talk about this all the time. When a team has their star player go down, like Luka, the team will, like, step it up big time for that first game without him. Like, they'll put in a big effort, and that is what the Lakers did. That was the game against Sacramento, which they did win and cover in that one on the road. Then after that, I actually still liked the Lakers in the next game in that one. I think I gave out the Lakers because it was a revenge spot. Oh, no, my mistake. Minnesota was the game before that. So, yeah, I think, the reason why I didn't want to play the Lakers in the injured player spot was because they were coming off that big revenge win over Minnesota, which was one of my wins on the show. So I just stayed away from the Luka injury game here. But the Lakers did do that. They stepped up really big. And then I came in and I faded the Lakers in the next game, which is a back-to-back as well, because what happens with the injured player spot is when that team puts in that huge effort in that first game, they tend to think, okay, hell yeah, we can win without him. And then they take a little bit of a step back in that next game, and they did. They lost to Portland. So that was another winner for me on the show. Now, after that, LA, without Luka again, they played a pretty good game last time out, and they beat Minnesota again. So getting some revenge against the team that eliminated them last year, Minnesota. That was another big win for LA. That was on Wednesday. Now they're going to Memphis. They do have Miami up next. I don't know if they're really going to look ahead to Miami, but I think it is a letdown spot for the Lakers, because that's a big win. Again, you just went into Minnesota, and now you've beaten them both home and away to kind of get a little bit of revenge for the playoff series last year. Big win, and now on top of that, Luka looks like he's coming back here. And I talk about this, when that happens, when the injured player comes back, that first game that he comes back, like, yes, obviously it's going to make the team better in the long run, but the first game that he comes back, sometimes the team brings him back too soon. He's got to get used to being out there again. The team has a chemistry shift again, and they have to, they have to build up that chemistry again and get used to playing with him again. And you're going to get value going against that team, because the line's going to overreact to him coming back and move too much in the other direction, which is also what happens when the guy first gets injured. The line overreacts against that team, but when he comes back, it's going to overreact towards that team, and I think that's what's going on here. So a lot of things at play here. I think it's a letdown plus a reverse injured player spot here, if all of that makes sense. And again, the team was winning without Luka. They won 2 out of 3, so I think they're going to think, hell yeah, now we get him back. We can definitely win this game against Memphis. So I think it's a bad spot for LA. Memphis, they're going to get up for a game against LA. And Memphis just played fairly poorly, as I mentioned, against Phoenix 2 days ago. They are returning home from a road trip, so maybe a little bit of a concern there. But it was only a road trip that started on Monday. It was only a 2-game road trip. They did go to the Pacific Coast, but still, I don't think it's going to be a spot where they're going to, get totally distracted by the return home spot. I mean, they're playing the Lakers. This is going to be the game they're going to get up for. So I like Memphis in this one. That's going to be the play. Wait around, I guess. It is sort of dependent. I like it more if Luka is definitely coming back. And right now he's listed as questionable. And people didn't think he was going to be back yet. So it is something to watch, because there is still the possibility that he might not come back. And if he doesn't, I still like Memphis in the game, but I don't like them as much. And if he doesn't come back, you're going to have to lay more points with Memphis. So I probably only elevate this to a play if Luka is indeed coming back. And then you get that better number on Memphis. So that's what I'm going to do with that one. So it's a play that's dependent on that situation. Hell yeah, UTSA, money line. Like I say, I always take the points, though, in a game like that. But when I do that, I put like 10. It was a 6-point spread. I put like 10% on the money line in that one. So you get a little bit of extra on that one. Lakers, to repeat, is the Emirates NBA. Oh, this is an NBA Cup game, is it? Dude, I ignore that completely. It is. You're right. It's an NBA Cup game. Yeah, that doesn't change my opinion on it, though. Like, I literally ignore it completely until it gets to, like, the Final Four in the Cup. The Cup is so fucking stupid, dude. Like, the teams themselves don't even really give a shit about it because it's just so fucking stupid. It's pointless. It doesn't mean anything. It might mean a little bit of something once you get that far, and it means more to teams that know that they're not going to win a championship. And I think the Lakers, they think they can contend for a championship. Memphis probably doesn't really think so. So I think the Cup actually makes it mean more to Memphis as well. So actually, that kind of makes me like the game even more because these teams that are like low-tier playoff teams tend to do way better in the Cup than the like upper echelon NBA teams, just because those upper echelon teams, they just don't give a shit about it. So the regular season dynamics still come into play here. Yeah, there's probably money involved. There's some rigging. I don't really try to figure that out, though. All right, college football, and then I'm going to do the poly market stuff at the end of the show here. I'm going to give out a play here in college football, and again, it might not be the one that you think because you probably think it's going to be Rice plus the points if you know what I do. And for those keen observers who might tell you that they might tell me that Memphis is in a sandwich spot here, and I agree. I don't disagree with Rice in this game. I just don't love it strongly enough. This is on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. It is Memphis against Rice. Memphis is ranked 25th in the country, which I don't think they're actually a top 25 team. I mean, they're in a bad conference. They face a pretty easy schedule so far. Their one big win was against Arkansas. Arkansas is a low-tier SEC team. So, yeah, they face an easy schedule. But look at the Memphis spot here, man. They're on a short week, although so is Rice. They both played on Saturday. Memphis just beat South Florida. That was a big ranked matchup between Memphis and South Florida. I told you I liked Memphis in that game because Memphis fell to UAB in the game prior to that, and I think they were totally looking ahead to this. UAB had just fired Trent Dilfer or whatever, so they were in the fire coach spot. Probably should have given that out as a play. I gave it out as a lean. So I thought Memphis was in a good spot to bounce back there and play well against South Florida. They did. They got the win. They pulled off the upset at home. Huge win for them. Now they have to go and play Rice. And after this, they got Tulane, who we saw Tulane last night. And I think Tulane was actually probably somewhat looking ahead to this game against Memphis as well. That's still going to be a big game. Tulane's still got only one loss in the conference, I think, now after last night, and so does Memphis. So those two teams are fighting, to try to get into the conference championship. So that's a big game. So, yes, it's a sandwich spot. It's definitely a bad spot for Memphis. No doubt about it. I think they might overlook Rice. Rice, they run a triple option attack, so Rice, they have to stay in the game. That's the one thing. Like, they could do it. They can run the football and try to slow the game down. And teams that aren't used to defending against the triple option could struggle a bit. I mean, Memphis does pretty much see the triple option every year because they usually face either Army or Navy in this conference. They haven't faced any of them this year, though, so this will be the first time Memphis is facing a triple option this year. But then again, they are used to it again because they face Navy, Army, whatever, usually at least once every year. Still makes it a little bit difficult, although Rice is new to running the triple option, so they're definitely not as good as Navy. Let's put it that way. But Rice, they do have the ability to run the football, slow the game down, and that's what you want as an underdog like Rice. You want them to try to do that, slow the game down, keep the game close, keep it within reach, because if they fall behind by too much, they don't really have the ability to come back, so that's kind of the issue with Rice. They can't really throw the football. They've been decent this year, though, running the triple option at 4-4. That's not too bad. The problem that I have with Rice is they're also on that short week, and they're coming off an upset that took them into double overtime. So I just don't think I can get there with Rice, man. I almost always want to avoid teams that went into double overtime. I know I did play one a little while ago with, I think it was, Missouri against what was it? I forget. It was Missouri last week, right? Against Vandy, I think is what it was. Missouri probably should have gotten us that win in that one, by the way. But I did that because Missouri, their double overtime game was like a close call against a lesser team in Auburn, although, again, I think Auburn's underrated. But Rice, they pulled off an upset against UConn, and this is a lean I gave out on the show last Saturday, if you remember. I thought UConn was in a bad spot, just a weird spot, having to go down to Houston, Texas, face this oddball Rice offense. And Rice not only covered, but they won outright as like 10-point underdogs in double overtime. So I just can't get there with Rice, man. I'll lean that way. I do think it's a worse spot for Memphis. Rice getting to host a game prime time like this, it's a big deal for Rice as well to do that. So that is a little bit of an added motivational factor for Rice. The money is indicating on Rice, 71% of the tickets on Memphis, 50% of the cash on Rice. The number did drop a little bit from 14.5 to 13.5. I would try to get 14 if you like Rice. 14 is a key number, of course, because it's the 2 touchdown mark, obviously. I'll lean to Rice. I can't quite get there with it for the reasons that I just stated, though, but that's a lean for me. Rice plus the points in that one. Every team gets $514,000 each. That doesn't $514,000 is nothing for an NBA team. North Carolina Syracuse is where I'm going to come in and make a play here, and the market is indicating against it right now, and whatever. My play is going to be on Syracuse minus 2.5. The number did go up from 2 to 2.5, although we see 71% of the tickets, only 69% of the cash on Syracuse. That does worry me a little bit. Syracuse is a little bit public. This is on ESPN at 7:30, and that's going to be one factor here is that Syracuse, they have not hosted one of these midweek games this year, I don't believe, and they get to do it on ESPN tonight. So I think that's going to be a motivational factor for them. So when you have a team like Syracuse that's a 1-win team in the conference, they're a 3-win team overall, you got to figure out, like, where's the motivation going to come from? And I think it can come from multiple things. It can come from they're playing a ranked team or a really good team. Maybe they think they could still become bowl eligible because they need 3 more wins. So if that's the case, they got to win this game because they're going to have to win this home game against UNC, and obviously they can win against Boston College at home in their last game. So that would get them to 5 wins if they win those, but they would have to somehow upset Miami or Notre Dame on the road, which is not going to happen. But maybe they have hope. Maybe they think it's possible. So are they still going to be focused on trying to become bowl eligible? Maybe. But the reason I think they will still actually show up for this game is because it's an ESPN primetime game. And that's the other situation where a team will show up when it's an isolated game like this and they know the focus is going to be on them that night. That's another reason they'll get up for this game. And this is the only big conference game tonight. So I do think they'll be motivated for that reason. Otherwise, you might look and say you think this might be a sandwich spot for them because they just lost to Georgia Tech. They're on a short week, although all the teams I'm talking about are on short weeks right now. They all played on Saturday. And they do have Miami up next. So, yeah, generally, I would say, yeah, I mean, that makes it look like a sandwich spot. But I think the spot is worse for North Carolina, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And Syracuse, they got blown out by Georgia Tech, man. It wasn't even close. So, like, I don't think it's really going to be like a hangover effect or anything like that from that game. Like, they just got blown out by a team they weren't expected to be close to beating. So there's nothing to really see about that. Other than the fact that Syracuse actually played better in the game than the score looked. So that's another part of this handicap. Syracuse, yeah, they got outgained by over 100 yards. But I think if you look at this game, it actually wasn't as bad as the final score looked, is what I should say. And we know that Syracuse actually played fairly well against Pitt the week before that, and that was a very misleading final. I'm still bitter about it as well because that was one of my plays, Syracuse plus the 10 or whatever in that game. But, yeah, Syracuse, the yardage was like basically even in that game. They probably should have covered. Pitt did not put up a lot of offense. And that's another thing I'm looking at here. Georgia Tech, I mean, they're one thing. They're not the 7th best team in the country, but they're way better than North Carolina, and they're way better than Pitt, too. So this is a step down in class for Syracuse now to face this North Carolina team. This North Carolina's offense has been really, really bad. Their defense is starting to play better, but their offense has been terrible under Bill Belichick or Bill Belichick's girlfriend. And yes, people are going to point out North Carolina has improved. They played well against Cal, but they had a setup that wasn't that bad, even though I did lean against them in that game. Didn't give it out as a play, of course, but they were coming off getting blown out by Clemson and then going into a bye. So they did go into a bye in a good note that was a bye with, a coach like Belichick that could help them fix some things. So they went out to Cal. They had to go out to the Pacific Coast on the 17th, and they almost won as an 8-point underdog there. They had a chance to win that game at the end, and they fell short. So that's kind of brutal. Then they had to fly back to the Eastern time zone. And what did they do last week on Saturday? As double-digit underdogs at home, they took Virginia, number 16 in the country, to the absolute limit and lost them in overtime by 1 point. That's a brutal, brutal loss, dude. For this North Carolina team, I think they know they're not going to win 4 out of their last 5 and become bowl eligible. I mean, maybe you could argue they still have hope for that because the remaining schedule is not as difficult as Syracuse's is. But still, I think North Carolina, that was a big game for them. That was one of the few games remaining they were going to get up for against Virginia. I know this game's on ESPN, but the home team usually has more reason to get up for it. This is a weird spot, North Carolina, having to go up to the Carrier Dome. It's always kind of a weird spot for road opponents to go up there. And I know Syracuse hasn't been very good at home this year, but still, North Carolina's still not that good, and I don't like the spot for them coming off that close call, overtime. 2 close calls in a row. Seems a bit brutal to me. They don't have a huge game up next against against Stanford, but I think that's still a bigger game than Syracuse right now because Syracuse, even though they have the same record as Stanford, I just think teams aren't taking Syracuse very seriously. So I think the spot sets up a lot better. Syracuse is coming off an embarrassing blowout loss, even though it was to a good team. And UNC, I almost keep saying UConn. UNC is coming off back-to-back close calls where they had to travel cross-country between them. A lot of travel here because now they are having to go up to New York as well. So Syracuse is going to be my play in that one, man. I know they haven't looked good recently. They haven't looked very good at home. Haven't looked that good against good opponents. North Carolina is not a good opponent, though. And they don't have an offense that's really capable of blowing anybody out either. So I think it could be a close-ish game. It is a low total in this one as well. The money has come in towards the under significantly. 47.5 is a key number, so you kind of missed that, the 47 being key. It's all the way down to 44.5. Money is coming in on the under. It's coming in on the under in the Memphis Rice game, too, by the way, which is pretty helpful if you want to take the points. With Rice, you get 2 touchdowns in a game where the total's down below 50 now. So that looks pretty conducive to taking points in that Rice game. You know me, I like to take points in a game where the total is low. And then the game that I have the least of an opinion on is Sam Houston against Louisiana Tech. This is an ugly game, a Conference USA game. Louisiana Tech's a 17-point favorite. They're definitely the significantly better team. 51% of the tickets on them. 64% of the cash coming in on Sam Houston, though. This is a low total. All 3 games, low totals tonight. 48.5 is the total in this one, so it might make more sense to take the points with Sam Houston in this one. Sam Houston hasn't won a game yet, so that is a motivating factor, man. A team does not want to go winless on an entire season, so you know you're going to continue to get effort out of a team like that. And Sam Houston did have a bye, so they haven't played since Wednesday the 15th. They obviously went into that bye on a bad note, which was losing every game this season so far. So you got to think that they're going to use that bye to try to fix some things. Although I know they had another bye. They got absolutely annihilated coming out of that bye. But it was by Texas. I mean, Texas is just way better than Sam Houston. This is an easier opponent, at least, Louisiana Tech, even though they're one of the better teams in Conference USA. I still think Sam Houston is in a decent spot to bounce back coming out of that bye. Louisiana Tech has had some extra time off, too. They didn't have a bye, but they haven't played since last Tuesday. So they have kind of this weird shifted schedule. And they did play Western Kentucky to overtime in that one, which was kind of a big game. Western Kentucky is still one of the named teams in Conference USA, and they're a little bit down this year, but they're still having a decent season. So I think the spot does set up better for Sam Houston. They have extra rest here. La Tech is coming off a pretty big game, and they do have Delaware up next, and Delaware has been playing pretty well as well. And then Washington State, Liberty, Missouri State. If they're going to overlook any of these opponents, it's going to be Sam Houston because this team hasn't won yet. So I would actually lean to taking the points with Sam Houston in this one. La Tech, I mean, they don't have a very prolific offense, and you're asking them to cover a huge number in this one. I know it's against a bad Sam Houston team that also hasn't really done much offensively, which I don't know why they changed their offense. They still have the same quarterback from last year, Hunter Watson. And last year they were running like kind of an option thing. They were running the football a lot. This year they're like trying to throw the ball more with a new coach there, I think, and it just makes zero sense. Like, they actually made a bowl last year. They won 10 games last year, I'm pretty sure. I think they won a bowl game. So it's like, what the fuck are they doing this year? I don't know, man. But yeah, all that being said, yeah, I agree with the market in that one. I lean to Sam Houston. So, of course, the one game I'm giving out in college football is the game where the market is disagreeing with me. But I think that's the best spot. So that's what I'm doing. And let's talk about Poly Market real quick here, because I was asked by Mad Dog. Shout out to Mad Dog. A Halloween party in person. Yeah, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a little bit of a thing. Some family at this one. Nothing huge, but yeah, I'm gonna post pictures of my. I'm gonna be at my. I'm gonna be at my parents' house for this one. I'll post some pictures of my costume, which I should be in the office today, right? If I still had that job, they're gonna be thinking about me on Halloween, man, because I won the costume contest 3 times in the last several years that I was there, and that includes skipping 2020 and 2021 because of COVID shit. I would have won in 2020 too. I posted my costume that year. I was Joe Exotic, Tiger King. Joe Exotic himself loves my costume. He's seen it. He follows me on Twitter. He's called me his twin. Free Joe Exotic, by the way. He did not do what he's been accused of. He may have done some other things, but he's in prison because he supposedly orchestrated an attempted hit on Carol Baskin, and that didn't happen. And Carol Baskin, by the way, got away with murdering her husband. So, yeah. Joe Exotic, free him. Nate, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out again. So Poly Market here. People wanted me to talk about this. I mean, it is just kind of hilarious. So Mad Dog, shout out to Mad Dog. He's got his, what's his show called? The Golden Shower Power Hour, which he claims is not a reference to the old Tower Power Hour, which was the former name of Tower Gang. I don't believe him. I think he's making an homage to the old Tower Gang name. He claims he's not. I don't believe him. I've been on his show, by the way. He does it on Spaces. I did it with Perry Abbasi, who is a hilarious guy. We had an interesting dynamic on that one. Perry isn't as like I'm more of like schizo funny, I guess, where I just have a random thought and I just say it, and it's usually I'm just over the line, just ridiculous. Perry was talking way more than I was, and he was like, it kind of helped him. Like, he said some funny shit, but then he would like cause me to think about something that was like over the top, and I'd just throw that out there. So he was kind of setting me up. It was a good dynamic. You can go back and find that on their Spaces. Anyway, what word will Trump say in November? You can bet on this on Poly Market. Not that I want to promote, an alternate market site and not a betting site. Oh my God. But this is just hilarious. You can get Trump, whether or not he'll say all these different words. And by the way, the market here that has the most volume by far, based on, just the amount of money that's been bet on it, is, will Trump say the N-word in November? Now, the problem I have with this is that there are not stipulations on this, because if Trump says literally N-word, like, does that count? And does that mean you win the bet if you said that he would say that? Because he said that before. We have that clip of him going like, oh, yes, Benjamin Netanyahu. I forget what the context was. He talks about the N-word all the time. We know what that N-word is, nuclear. So, like, if he says that, will that count? I don't know. Or does he actually have to say the N-word? But this is just such a hilarious thing. You can actually put money on this. And it was up to 28% this morning saying yes, and now it's 26%. So these are not the odds like that it'll happen, although these like are kind of predictive of, this is what the market thinks is going to happen. And yes, it is the whole market, so it is sort of like it is sort of a way that you can predict it. But like, is it really a 26% chance that he's going to say that in the month of November? if him saying literally N-word counts, then I would say yes, probably. It's much more likely, and maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know, man. I just think it's hilarious. You can bet on that. And then the other one that's getting a lot of action is steroid. Will Trump say the N-word? I would say he's not going to say the N-word, but I would still say he's probably not even going to say, quote, N-word. I don't think he's going to say either. I would actually still bet no on that. Like, that the public is saying yes to too much of an extent on that one. That's the yes on N-word is the public side in this one, I'm pretty sure. Like, that's got to be the case. So, yeah. I mean, that one, I don't know. Steroid is getting the second most amount of money. $13,000 wagered on steroid. $28,000 on N-word, by the way. Steroid, 67% saying yes, that he will say the word steroid. I don't exactly know what context it would be in, but it seems like the money is saying yes on this one. I don't really have a thought on that one. I don't know. Like, what is the context that he would say steroid here? Well, if he's talking about someone named N-word, yeah, instead of Edward, N-word. Or what if he says inward and people think that he says it? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Pope seems like it's not getting enough, by the way. Only $5 of volume. Does that mean there's only been total? Is that the total amount of volume? I guess maybe it is. Only $5 have been wagered on Pope. And only 43% is saying yes. I think it's pretty likely he's going to say Pope. I don't know. Like, is he going to visit him at some point? I don't know. Like, it's you got to kind of figure out, like, what's Trump's schedule for November. Like, it seems like there could be definitely a situation where it comes up and he talks about the Pope. And the Pope is American now, so Trump might be more likely to say something about the Pope. The Pope, we like him. He's a good man. He's from Chicago. We like the new Pope. Pope, what's his name? Pope Leo. Is that his name? I don't even know. Leo the 12th. I don't even know. Whatever his name is. I have no idea. I don't even remember what his actual name is. He's some Italian dude. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of him, though. I mean, I'm never really a fan of the Pope. He's probably an improvement off of the last Pope, but still. Handicap that on the fly. Thank you, Jeffrey, for reminding me. He'll talk about, the enhanced games coming up in May. What do you mean the enhanced games? Oh, yeah. The Olympics, right? There's going to be some Olympic in 2026, right? Wait, is it a summer Olympic year? I lose track. It's not. Because we had the Olympics were last year because it was the stupid Paris thing, and it was just a disaster. So we're going to have Winter Olympics, though, right? I don't know what we're talking about. I think there are going to be Winter Olympics at some point this year, though, in 2026, whatever that is. It might be winter 2026. I guess it's at the end of 2026. Oh, Peter Thiel, he knows about the Antichrist. Yeah. By the way, that was actually the best South Park episode of the season. It's been a bad season. They can't make Trump funny, dude. They basically have TDS, which means that they can't make Trump funny. Like, literally this entire season has been a Trump penis joke. Trump's penis is tiny, guys. His penis is tiny, and he's fucking the devil. Oh, my God. That's been the entire season, but this past episode, it was almost kind of like a Halloween-themed episode that involved Cartman being possessed by a demonic entity because of everybody saying 6'7", and Peter Thiel was like the exorcist because he knows about the Antichrist, but he was like this like evil exorcist figure where they made him look like this like old and totally evil. You know that South Park's writers, they do not like Peter Thiel, and for good reason. Not to be trusted. That episode I actually thought was pretty good. It was a funny episode. The reason why the Dodgers sucked all year is because they were not paying attention. Like they just sleepwalked through a huge chunk of the season because they didn't care. So I don't agree with that. And multiple of their best starters were injured all year. Snell, Glasnow. So I still do not agree with you on that at all. The odds makers are telling you you're wrong about that because the odds makers have lined them as a favorite heavily in like every game in the series. So, yeah, no, I don't agree with that. The Dodgers, They knew they were going to make the playoffs, so they just didn't give a shit. And again, a bunch of their starters were out. Ohtani wasn't a starting pitcher either until late in the season. So their entire starting pitching rotation basically in the playoffs is different than it was in like July and August. So it's completely different. Nope, I completely disagree with that. I think it was probably the best strategy ever, because that's exactly what you want. You want elite, experienced pitchers that, I know it's not working out with Snell right now, but that is what you want. You want elite, experienced pitchers, and you want them to not be totally burned out. Like, these guys have pitched in the playoffs before. No, I think their strategy has been really, really good, actually. And if it doesn't work out, it's going to be very, very bad luck on their part, in my opinion. You don't need the experience. It's a 162-game season, dude. You don't need... Do you think fucking Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, who are both in their early 30s and have played like a decade in baseball, do you think they need, like, whatever, 2 months more of experience? No, they don't. As long as they're not coming in cold, they at least they played for like 2 months this season anyway, so they're certainly not coming in cold. I don't know. What other Trump things did I even want to talk about? I don't know. The N-word was obviously the one that was the most ridiculous. And then we had fucking, and fucked. 30% saying that he might say that. I mean, he's definitely said shit before, so I don't know. I mean, I could see that happening. If you think he'll let an F-bomb slip this entire month on camera? He might. So maybe there's 30% saying yes on that one, basically. So maybe there's a chance that he will say that. I think Crooked Joe is being overvalued here at 37%. I don't think he'll say that, because why would he? Joe Biden might not even still be alive. Biden's irrelevant at this point, so he's moved on. You know that he's moved on. He's starting to call other people sleepy, and then Crooked. Like, he's starting to make fun of the current Democrat opponents. I don't think he's going to really talk about Joe Biden much at all, so I don't think he's going to say that. Thanksgiving, 98% are saying he will say that. I mean, obviously. I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot of value in saying that, yes, he will say that, but of course he's going to say Thanksgiving at some point. And then, I don't know. I don't know what else. What's the lowest percentage out of all of these? Mustache, I think it's the lowest at 23%. N-word is actually the second lowest. Mustache, why would he say mustache at all? I mean, it seems so random. And why is that at the absolute top of the thing? I don't get it, man. Mustache, yeah, I don't get it. No, I disagree with that as well. Ohtani pitched multiple years with the Angels, dude. Like, he's got enough experience. I don't agree with you on this. I think the Dodgers, I was wrong about that Dodgers game, that last one. I don't think I was really wrong about the previous one. The odds makers are telling you exactly what you need to know about this series. If the Blue Jays pull this off, it's going to be one of the biggest upsets in World Series history based on the line. It's completely ridiculous. So I don't agree with you. I think the way that the Dodgers have set up their starting pitching rotation, and you can tell that the way they set up their pitching rotation has been good, because these guys have been great throughout the playoffs until this series. So you think it hasn't worked out for them? No. And they faced the most difficult offenses out of any team throughout the playoffs. They had to face the Phillies, the Brewers, and the Blue Jays. That is a gauntlet of offenses, and their pitchers were really, really good up until this series. So, no, it's not like it hasn't been good for them. Snell has been awesome. I mean, Snell, except for this series, Snell has been awesome. Ohtani has been really awesome as well. It's just it's been bad in this series. Vlad is one guy. He only gets like 4 at-bats in a game. So one guy doesn't make that much of a difference, as you can see, because the Blue Jays are winning without George Springer. So, and they were winning throughout some of the earlier series without Bo Bichette as well. Anyway, let's talk about the World Series while I'm angry as fuck. Somebody just wanted me to hit that Polymarket shit, so I did. Am I going to play the Dodgers in this game? I don't know. The money's coming in on the Dodgers yet again. They're up from -135 to -139 on the money line. Of course, Toronto leads 3-2. This game is back in Toronto. 64% of the tickets, 79% of the cash coming in on the Dodgers. Yeah, but that's a small sample size. Don't care. 64% of the tickets, 79% of the cash coming in on the Dodgers. The total is down to 7.5 in this one, with 79% of tickets and 83% of the cash on the over. I don't think I agree with an over in this one. The total's a little bit lower for a reason. I know these teams both can hit. The bullpens are a bit questionable, but you got two pretty solid pitchers here still, and the bullpens are rested. I mean, these teams didn't play yesterday, and the travel actually might affect the offense a little bit. So, yeah, I can't believe I forgot there was a World Series game tonight. But, yeah, I don't even want to remember it because I hate being fucking wrong, which is why I'm angry, even though I don't like the Dodgers. Not that I necessarily want Canada to win either. So the bullpens are at least rested. Yamamoto is pitching for the Dodgers here. Really good season, obviously. 2.49 ERA, 0.99 whip. He actually was better on the road, 2.13 ERA. So even though, yes, Toronto is much better at home, the Dodgers were not as good on the road. Yamamoto was really good on the road. Yamamoto has been really, really excellent in the playoffs with a 1.57 ERA, 26-4 strikeout walk ratio, coming off back-to-back complete games in which he allowed one run in each of them and had a 15-1 strikeout walk ratio. Maybe he'll have a little bit of a regression, but do you want to go against this? Does this look like he's bad? Does it look like the pressure is getting to him? No, he had their best start this series. Yes, it does mean the Blue Jays are a little bit more familiar with him, I guess. They have 33 at-bats against him, though they only have 5 hits against him, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's a ridiculous strikeout rate. Basically, a third of Toronto's hitters are striking out against him. One of those 5 hits, the only extra base hit is a double from George Springer, who might not even play. I guess it says there's a strong chance he is actually going to play in this game, which means it's kind of a reverse injured player spot, but I just don't think it matters that much in this case because it's just one guy in a baseball lineup. Whatever. Yamamoto, I mean, he's got the good matchup numbers. He's in very good form right now. He was very good on the road this season. He's going up against Gausman. Kevin Gausman, good season for him as well. 3.59 ERA, 1.06 whip. He hasn't been as good at home, though. 3.86 ERA at home. He's been decent in the playoffs with a 2.55 playoff ERA, but here's the problem. 9 walks, 18-9 strikeout walk ratio. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence in me. He's walking too many guys. Yes, he didn't walk anybody in the last game against LA, although they lost that game. I think that was the same pitching matchup. I think that was at home, too. So this is a repeat of Gausman against Yamamoto, and I'm pretty sure I gave out the Dodgers as a play in that game and got the 5-1 win. Gausman, he wasn't bad in the game. 6 2/3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, no walks, 4 hits. He did well. He got a little bit unlucky because he gave up 2 home runs. But against the Dodgers, I mean, his numbers, they're not great and they're not horrible. 180 at bats. They have a lot of experience against him. 51-16 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, that's a pretty good ratio. 228 average is low. 741 OPS is getting a little bit on the higher side. He's given up 10 home runs. So the Max Muncy absolutely destroys him with 4 home runs. Betts 3 home runs off him. So a couple of these guys do a lot of damage against him. The Dodgers need this game more because they're down 3-2. Blue Jays basically have 2 shots at it. So Dodgers have more need. There's a reason why they're favored. By the way, in this matchup, when I gave out the Dodgers, what was the price when I gave them out in this game in game 2? I think it was probably close to like minus 150, right? So now because of the recency, you're actually getting more value on the Dodgers this time. They're down to minus 139 on this. You know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm 6-2-1 in baseball playoffs here. My only loss was that last game against the Dodgers. I don't care. This is Jeffrey's fault, by the way. He's making me do this. Do we worry about the bullpens a little bit here? I don't know, because I can't really tell you which bullpen is the better one. I mean, Toronto's bullpen has been the slightly worse one throughout the playoffs. During the regular season, they were pretty even. They were both somewhat bad bullpens. Yeah, I don't care. Dodgers, we're going to go with it. We're going to go with the Dodgers. The best money line you can get is minus 140. Sorry, Jeffrey, I don't agree with you. I'm going to go right back to the well. Same handicap, basically, that I had in game 2. We're going to go with the Dodgers to bounce back in this one. It's a return home spot for Toronto, man. Obviously, that does not matter when it's a World Series, but this is kind of a zigzag spot, though, with the way playoff dynamics work. A team loses 2 games in a row. You could argue that the Dodgers probably shouldn't have lost the game 2 games ago because it basically all came on a Vlad Guerrero home run. Yeah, I like the Dodgers in this one. Yamamoto's been their best pitcher. It's on the line. Yeah, it seems like the pressure's not getting to him. We're going with the Dodgers here. Saab, what's up, man? You took Rice. I agree with Rice, but I gave out Syracuse as a play. Pacers, I do not agree with the Pacers. I disagree with that. Yamamoto was not the one crying. That was Roki Sasaki, dude. What are you, racist? Get your Japanese pitchers right. That was Sasaki. Dude, Yamamoto's pitched multiple seasons in the majors now. Sasaki was the one who was crying. Yeah, okay, fine. Think what you want to. We're going with the Dodgers in this one. And I also would not be opposed to playing the Dodgers at plus 200, whatever, to win the entire series either. Saab, I'll root for you to win your 30K. I think you should force. You think Dodgers will force Game 7? I think you should hedge a little bit of it on the Dodgers, I would say, because I think the Dodgers are going to win Game 6. So I think you should hedge a little bit of it back, maybe. Although I guess you do get 2 shots at it, so I guess you could only hedge in Game 7, but I think the matchup is a little bit better for the Dodgers here. But by the way, who's pitching? Let me just see. Who's pitching in Game 7? I just want to know. We don't know yet. If this goes to a Game 7 and it's going to be Max Scherzer for Toronto, do you really trust Toronto to win that game with that ancient entity on the mound? Who he wasn't even good when he looked good in his last game. He walked too many guys. I would have no faith in Max Scherzer being able to win a Game 7 here. I just wouldn't. So, yeah, there's still a chance the Dodgers win this thing, even though I've been saying they don't have a chance to do it. Yeah, there's a chance. That's all I'll say. That's going to do it. Those are the plays today. The plays, one more time, are the Knicks -5 in NBA, Memphis -1.5, but that's dependent on Luka returning for the Lakers. I know that's counterintuitive. It's the reverse injured player theory. You get better value in Memphis if that's the case. College football, we're going Syracuse -2.5. Baseball, Dodgers -140. That's going to do it. Yeah. I'm trying to get through all the comments. I'm a dick. I'm mad. I apologize. This show was longer than I wanted it to be. I got to eat some lunch. I got to get ready for Halloween as well. That's going to do it. Hopefully we get some wins today. Peace, guys. Oh, no, wait. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. I might be changing the name of the show to Jeffrey's Suggestion. Toadstool Sports. We will see. I have ChatGPT generated a logo that I actually like. So I showed it to Jeffrey because he's the one that came up with the name. So I may go with that. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. I hear police outside again. So there's obviously something good going on out there. Like, subscribe to the channel here. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out, even though I get really, really angry at people. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel, so check that out too. We got some new Halloween stuff up there. Learn to Toad on Patreon, patreon.com/learn-to-toad, and you get a Spotify Uke feed and prioritize Uke requests. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I'm missing one thing. Oh, yeah. Bettor Off Dead is on audio as well, so Spotify, iTunes. I reduced the number of ads, so I'm going to get less money on it, but I had the ads maxed out. So for you guys that want the audio, there should be somewhat fewer ads on those now. So go check that out. It is monetized. And give me a review, Spotify, Apple. It helps me out. Happy Halloween, everybody, and hopefully we don't get killed on Halloween by these bets here. We've been running well. Let's keep it up. Hopefully, I'm trying to do it, man. Peace.